Hello, I'm Philip Silverstone. What exactly does that mean? Stick around, and over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you.
You need to meet our next guest, Mr. Philip Silverstone. How nice to meet you.
Oh, there's a wine.
Yes, what exactly?
Season's greetings, one and all. Welcome to Silverstone Live on Facebook with the recorded videos available here on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel immediately after the live show. This is the place for fashion, entertainment, food and drink, and so much more. Each week I invite a special guest to join me to discuss one of these topics. And during the live broadcast, I ask you to post your thoughts and comments during the live show below the live stream. But even in the recorded version, you can still leave questions and comments, and we will get back to you on them. I have to apologize. I am recovering from a week of a dreadful cold, but I am fortunate enough to have some alcoholic libation and some non-alcoholic libation at hand to keep me in good shape, I hope. Talking about being kept in good shape, we owe a debt of gratitude to our friends who are our, well, I suppose they're the people that keep us visually available to you. They're the people that keep us out and about on the internet, because without them, I'd be in some really serious trouble. So I start every week's show by thanking them. Silverstone Live is powered by Xmas, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, the Apple specialist for people who can't afford the Apple stores and who want a less frenzied experience. There's no wait time at Xmas, King of Prussia. They accept trade-ins and transfer data at no additional charge, and most repairs are finished in under 15 minutes, and they can add memory on the spot. Xmas, King of Prussia specializes in selling pre-owned Apple products, a full range of computers, iPhones, iPads and accessories, making repairs, taking trade-ins and selling software and system updates. And every purchase comes with a 12-month warranty. Silverstone Live is only live each week thanks to our studio equipment, care and support by my mates at Xmas, King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. And I wish my friends at Xmas a very happy Christmas and a very happy New Year. This week's show struts the runway of fashion with our monthly feature, Fashion Matters, with our own fashion diva and Cecil, a design thinker, innovator, change agent and educator for nearly 4 decades, and lectures nationally and internationally on a variety of topics: visual merchandising, popular culture, online learning and techno stress. And entrepreneurial and creative endeavors include Ono, made in the 191, which is a consultancy business that works with independent manufacturers and retailers to create and maintain sustainable business. And Roxanne Lava, Anne's very successful bespoke women's shoe company. And each month, Anne presents Fashion Matters to focus on how fashion touches our lives. Anne's in the virtual green room, and when she joins me in a minute, we will be talking about fab Christmas and New Year outfits. But I've gone to a lot of expense to have a proper introduction for Anne, and you're going to see it. Anne's information. Oh, Anne, you have a red shoe alongside your name. You wouldn't know it because you can't see it on your screen, but it's Anne Cecil, Fashion Matters, RoxanneLava.com, and then your email underline, RoxanneLavaRocks@gmail.com. So I'm going to keep that on there for most of the time. Let's talk about the holiday season.
Okay, so I think the holiday season is something that is always can be very fun and stressful for people when they're getting together their outfits. And so one thing I think that's always really important is that you want to make sure that for whatever event you're going to, that you're going to be comfortable. That is incredibly important. And the second thing I think is you don't want to spend too much money on these outfits unless you can get things that will last and be pieces that you can use throughout the year. So I thought that I would put together from my closet a few items, and Phil has some pictures that would kind of show you some of the things that I got. I wanted to tell you where I got them, the brands, about how much they are, and what parts of them are on trend, so that you would get a little idea of what's going on. So I wanted to tell everybody, and Phil, I think, could we start with the glam party image?
How dare you tell me what we start with? This is my show. I'll decide what we start with.
You told me to carry on. So
wait a minute. You can't take me out of... Why are you taking me out of sequence? Why aren't
which one would you like to start with?
Well, we'll start with whatever you want, but I'm looking at the order that you sent me these, and you sent me Christmas Eve party, Christmas Eve dinner, New Year's Eve dinner and fireworks. Which was the glam one?
It has the tall red boots.
Oh yeah, so that's not the Christmas Eve one. That's the one that I had after. Party. I don't care which one I put up. Let me put this one up, the one you want. It's very narrow, but I hope people can see it because they're watching it on huge screens. I'm watching it on a small screen. Go ahead, it's right there.
Okay, so I wanted to tell everybody a little bit about this. So I go every Saturday before Christmas for many, many years to a big party that a circle of my friends have been doing for decades now, called the Fish Party. It was loosely based on the idea of the 7 fishes, but we generally have more like 100 different type of fish items, which are not necessarily fish-based items. They might be goldfish crackers, fish-shaped cookies, whatever. There's a lot of drinking involved, as you could imagine. And this year...
Drinking like a fish. Right, got it. I got it.
Drinking like a fish, exactly. And this year after that, I'm going to a music venue in where some of my other friends are for a glam rock Christmas show. So this is what I'm going to wear to this party. And this is, I really wanted to tell you all this because I think it's kind of fun. So that jacket that I have, that hairy black jacket that's over everything, is from a new-ish brand at the Target store. And I believe that there are Targets also in the UK now. And this brand in the US is called Wild Fable. And this is one of the pieces that they have. And I love this jacket because it reminds me sort of the 1970s. But the other nice thing about it is that it's actually a sweater, and it is quite warm. And I think for that 1970s glam, it works really, really well. Now I'm wearing it. I want to tell everybody that was under $30, $30 or under for that jacket. The shirt that is underneath it is a Calvin Klein, actually sleeveless V-neck with both red and white roses on the black and green vinery throughout. And I got that at a TJ Maxx, which I believe in the UK is a TJX, for about $25. Now that was a new buy for me, and I want to make a point to everybody that the reason that I even spent that amount of money on something for Christmas is because those two pieces are very Anne Cecil pieces and will be worn outside of the Christmas and holiday season. So they will have a great deal of longevity. Now, on trend are my patent black faux leather leggings. And I just want to say, I got them at H&M. And Phil, I would like you to just take a guess at how many of my hard-earned dollars do you think I put down for those leggings?
12.
$2.
Wait a minute,
So-
they're leggings. They look like jeans.
They are leggings, and they are vinyl. And so the one thing that I also want to tell our audience is that this is a very on-trend item right now, but it's something that probably is not going to have longevity. So the $2 price ticket allowed me to be part of the trend for the short time that the trend will be in. Now, I think our audience, many of them have heard me on several occasions, so you know that I probably will wear them even when they're not on trend, but they're on trend right now. So if you are shopping trends and you want to get something that is part of the trend, be conscious of not spending too much money on them unless you will get a lot of wear out of them. And then those suede red boots are from Karl by Karl Lagerfeld. And those are from last year. And I believe on sale, I bought those for somewhere around $80 to $100. Now, again, those boots I will wear and have worn throughout the year. So the 1970s sweater, maybe not something that's going to have a huge amount of longevity, but that for me is something I'd wear quite a lot. Certainly the shirt I'll wear over and over again because it's right there in my color palette. The leggings, bang on trend, $2. And then those suede knee-high boots. So I think I'll be really well-dressed for the glam rock party.
And the whole thing came to about $50?
No. Because the boots were about $100.
Oh, well, I meant without the boots. It was...
Yeah, without the boots,
not everyone has to be as extravagant as you about boots. I mean, they could wear any red shoes.
Of course. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but again, the one thing that I would tell you all to just think about, as I said in the beginning, I also want you to think about the comfort. So what I have to do in order to get to this glam rock party is I have to do a lot of walking. I'm going to have to take public transportation, and I'm going to be doing a lot of standing while I'm there. So I did have to select clothes that are going to be comfortable enough for me to be in and outside, do these 2 different party events, and that the shoes are important for me because I need to stand in them for an incredibly long time. So always, whatever is comfortable for you, make sure you're picking the comfortable things for the party.
Logical. Surprising coming from you, but logical. Now, shall we do the Christmas Eve?
Absolutely.
The Christmas Eve, all right. So once again, I'm going to take myself out of the picture. We don't want to see me. And we'll put the Christmas Eve stuff in. And that is over there.
Sorry, I'm just rolling through my own photos so that I can see it. Okay. So you'll see that I am using the top and the sweater again, obviously. But here what I have, which I think you will all find kind of interesting, is these are, if you don't know that snake print is in this year, it is the hot print. Now, leopard is always in, jaguar, those kinds of cats, always in. But the biggie right now that's on trend is snake. And those pants are...
Can I just jump in a minute? I hate to do this, but you have a very strong South Philadelphian accent. The word she's saying is snake, right?
Yes.
I thought you were saying snick.
Snake.
Snake. Okay.
Snake. I think your ears are blocked.
You know my ears are blocked. Yeah.
Or is Linda saying she doesn't understand me? Because if Linda's saying she doesn't understand me, then...
Yeah. She says she understands. My audience of one understands, yeah. She said she thought she understands that you said snick. That's what she understands. Okay, let's get back to your snake pants.
Snake. So my snake pants are faux leather have an embossed snake print in them. So they are textural snake. And what I'd like to share with you all is that these have been in my closet since the last time snake was around, which was probably about 20 years ago. So these I'm pulling back out and recycling into my repertoire. And I also wanted to point out to everybody that it's always a great idea to take certain pieces and keep them. Don't get rid of everything, because we know that various fashions come around again and again and again. So I will always tell you to keep well-made investment basics. That's a no-brainer. But I also like to hang on to a few trend pieces if they are good quality, and I think that they will last, because surely they will come around again. So no question about that. Now, what is new to this are the boots. And these are stiletto pointed toe sock boots in a red snake print. Now, these came from Mango this year, and I did spend some cashola on them. I believe they were about $70. So I traded off having to buy a bottom for having a more expensive boot. But again, I will wear these forever, and these will be the kind of thing that this would be an example of something that this year, after the snake is over, I will keep those snake boots, because they will come back in the next 10 to 15 years, and hopefully I will still have the feet to wear them.
You know what's very sad that's occurred to me, Anne, and no one's picked up on this yet, and I feel very troubled by this. I thought that you had had a rather good year, but I'm noticing that as your closet these days, you're using a garden gate and part of a backyard to store your clothes, which is rather sad, isn't it? It's like,
don't be silly. I brought them outside because the light in my dressing room is no good, and there's no flat backdrop that's like somewhat neutral.
Well,
so,
next time you send me photographs, perhaps, and this is just an artistic suggestion, perhaps you could take the trash bin out the photo and at least make sure it's empty. You know, I had to crop it, that's why it's so narrow, but other than that, it was a good photo. But I was thinking, you know, she's showing us the photo of the clothes, and the next thing, she's just going to dump them all in the trash bin and buy the real clothes.
Well, I have to tell you that had I really had the time, I would have cropped them myself. But, and if I had really had the time, I would have set them up against a white background with some lighting in my house. But you know what was going on in my life in the past couple of weeks, and it wasn't really feasible.
No, it wasn't. So I'm back on the screen now, and we have gone through your Christmas party. The whole week's flown by, and now we're coming up to New Year's Eve, right?
Yes, we are.
And let's take a look at I mean, what a life you live. This says, excuse me. I apologize for that. No way I can get around it. This says New Year's Eve dinner and fireworks.
Right, absolutely. So every year for New Year's Eve, I go with my guy Joe and another couple to a great Italian restaurant for a meal. And then we head out to our city's spectacular fireworks display over the Delaware River in Philadelphia. So again, this is another night where I'm going to be inside and then be outside. And so I have to think carefully about what I can put on and what's not going to overheat me inside, and, you know, what are layers that can be taken off and so forth. So I have this great jacket that I love, this silver kind of moto jacket that is open. And I love this piece. I got this piece on sale at one of my favorite department stores in the United States called Lord & Taylor last year. It's a private label brand they do called Design Lab. And I believe I spent on sale about $40 on that. Now, going back to Target, that bronze t-shirt that I'm showing you underneath is again from that Wild Fable collection. And that was, I believe, about $15. So that's new this year. I'm back in my $2 patent leggings. And now what we have, I believe these are Katy Perry boots in gunmetal. These are brand new for me, and they are totally Ann boots. Again, a slight bit of investment. They were about $100. But this is a boot that I will wear for decades.
Now, did you buy those in a shop or did you buy those online?
They actually came from Lord & Taylor as well. So for our UK friends, Lord & Taylor is a specialty department store in the United States. It has a long history. It is one of the old Maven kind of department stores that was on Fifth Avenue. They've just recently sold the building, and it will still have part of the building, but the rest of the building is going to be workspace and I think some living space. And but it is it's one of those grand damn department stores that we all have in both countries. One of the things that I love about Lord & Taylor is they've been bought by a Canadian company called Hudson Bay, and they work a lot on a loyalty program. So they've just opened up their loyalty program this year so that anybody who buys anything gets 5% cash back for every $200 they spend. They do aggressive promotion, which is not always the smartest way to run a profitable business, but it is working for them. And so I wait for sales there, and those boots were, I believe, closer to $200, but with all my discounts in a recent sale, I got those for $100 shipped to my door.
Excellent.
For free.
Excellent.
So I love this outfit, and this outfit is something, by the way, that I would wear on a regular day, not necessarily even just for New Year's Eve, but it's what I'm considering for New Year's Eve. I want to make one point about the leggings for everybody. Because they're vinyl, they're going to be hot and sweaty. So if you want to do the patent, you could do patent boots. You could do a patent handbag. You don't have to do patent that is going to make you overheat wherever you are. So just some food for thought.
Good point. Now, before we show your next outfit, let me just tell everyone that it is the outfit that Anne is going to wear.
Oh, yeah.
To attend the Mama's Day parade. And I told Anne that I was going to do two things. Number one, and Anne hasn't seen this, so she's just going to have to trust me. Number one, I'm going to show you a photo now, everybody, of a mama, the Aqua String Band from 2010. And I apologize again for this horrendous cold which I'm dealing with. This is a rather lovely photo. The man has a purple wig. He has like a straw boa coming out of his head. The whole thing is absolutely amazing. But better than that, ladies and gentlemen, and so I can have a jolly good old cough, I'm going to do one thing better than that. I'm going to show you within a minute. That's Anne's doggy, not me. I'm going to show you part of a Mama's Day. Can you explain it, Anne? It's all
Sure, I
yours.
can.
It's all yours.
So, in fact, this is something that happens in South Philadelphia, which is where I am from. Not really where I'm from. It's where I've lived for many, many years. But one of the things that I think is really important to talk about, because I'm sure that it just looks like a bunch of crazy drunk people, is that, in fact, it is the oldest form of folk art in the United States. This comes out of the Italian medieval or Renaissance era, where there were people who took to the streets dressed up on New Year's Day. And there are other places in Europe where this has happened historically. And what has happened in Philadelphia is that we have the Mummers Brigades, and there are actually a bunch of clubs. And this is all done by people who just live in the neighborhood, have gotten involved in this activity. A lot of it is generational family event. And I want to just tell everybody that there are a number of different types of activities that go on. There is the comic brigade, which are really just out to entertain. There are the string bands, who kind of do a mini Broadway show with string instruments on the street. And then there are the fancy brigades, who used to come up the street, but now they play at a big convention center, and they put on more Broadway-esque plays with bands and or music that is done, brought together and done professionally inside. The string bands are tremendous. It happens on New Year's Day. It's streamed on the internet. So if anybody who is not in Philadelphia is interested in seeing it or checking it out, have a go and have a look. Usually the string bands are on at about noonish Philadelphia time. So that's Eastern time. I would love to tell everybody just a little story about the Mummers. I lived further deep down in South Philly than I do when I first got married than I do now. And each of these clubs is sort of very, they have a lot to do with community, and they're very, if you're part of it, it's very deep in you. And so on the street that I lived on, my bedroom was on the street, and every New Year's morning I would be awakened by a brigade of probably close to 200 drunk men dressed as wenches, marching from their clubhouse.
It's everyone's dream.
Down to my street. And the reason that they did that is because the founder of the brigade was an old man at that time. This is about 20 years ago. And so he was infirm and unable to participate or to go to the parade. So what they would do is they would start their parade by going past his house and serenading him at his house in the morning. And then they would proceed down my street. He lived a few blocks closer to the river than me, one river than me. And they would proceed down my street to get to Broad Street, which is where they started their march for everybody else. And that is just the kind of thing that happens. This is very much done by neighborhood people. The people who make the costumes are neighborhood people. They do have sometimes some professional costumers who help them come up with the theme and the idea and direct people. But much of this is done by the wives of the men who were in these brigades. The brigades have now opened up to include women. So it really is a very neighborhood, very folk-oriented, very craft-oriented kind of thing. And they do tremendous things also for police and firefighters who have died, their families who have died. They often do beef and beers to raise money for various charitable events. And so it gets a pretty bad rap because it does just look like a bunch of drunks. But it isn't, it's really, really much more than that. So I'd like to say that to everybody. And so I love the string bands, and there is a particular dance that you do, which is called, it's a strut, and there's a particular way to do it. And I will say that as the world has gotten more PC, the city has cleaned up the event, and it's fine. But what is not so much fun is there's a public event, and then many of these clubs have a clubhouse on a particular street. And it used to be that you'd go to the after party on that particular street, and you could have a lot of fun, and you'd be dancing with everybody. Now, even that has gotten so commercialized that there's cops and barricades and all kinds of things. So it is no longer what it used to be for me. But it used to be great fun on New Year's Day to go out and dance with the mummers and, have a good time and really just enjoy yourself. And I would still tell everybody, if you've never seen it, to take a look on, the streaming on New Year's Day and see if you can see it, especially the string bands, because they are quite good entertainment. I mean, on top of it all, and it's amazing to think these people who are all amateurs are really very talented. I mean, it really is a wonderful thing. And Phil knows in Philadelphia, we have a lot of theater, and we have a lot of amateur theater that is also pretty good because there's a lot of it. So you have to kind of be pretty good around here for people to watch you. So this is sort of a really big, big, big deal, and something quite different than just what it looks at on the surface.
I think I'm going to just cut that part out there that you were just talking about and send it to the Mummers Museum. Maybe next year you'll be their spokesperson, because I think that alone did a brilliant job. When I first came to the States some 40 years ago, and I was my wife Linda took me to meet her mother and father, both late mother and father. And her mother, I never forget, said to me, "Are you going to see the Mummers?" I didn't have a clue what she was talking about, but I assumed that the 70s group had split up, and it was the Poppers had just disappeared, and now it was just the Mummers singing. Instead of Monday, Monday, it's just going to be Monday. That's it. But anyway, that's all I knew. But for people in the UK, the closest thing that I've ever seen, and I don't know if they still do it, they did it when I was a little boy, we used to have the Lord Mayor's show, which had the Pearly King and Queen, and that was a sort of a similar type parade, and that was a sort of, South Philly, I think South Philly and South London have the same type of people. They're almost cut from the same cloth of their respective cities, and sort of, I was going to say, and I don't mean this in any condescending or negative way, but a sort of rough and ready group of people. They don't put on airs and graces. They just are local, regular, proud to be from that part of the world people. So anyway, that's what I always thought it was. But to this day, I've never understood all the competitions and the voting and any of that. But thanks for explaining it. I learnt more in the last 10 minutes than I've learnt in the last 40 years. So thank you.
You are welcome. It is one of my, it is really one of my favorite things to share with people. And I would also just say to our audience, because, one of the things that you also may be familiar with is Mardi Gras in New Orleans. And that is also similar, sort of in character, to the Mummers Parade, but it is quite different because it's celebrating something quite different.
And thanks to the other smarty pants, Anne Smith, the Lord Mayor's show is still going in London. And to the other smarty pants, Pauline, the Lord Mayor's show still happens in London. Well, she's not that smart. Pauline, you were beaten by Anne, so you were slow on the buzzer. 3 points go to Anne. Oh, no, we're not doing Just a Minute, are we? We're not doing a game show here. I'm sorry. I should actually have everyone who's watching in with their hands on a buzzer, and I should have a score at the end of the show to see who answered the questions fast enough. And the winner gets a signed the loser gets a signed photograph of me, and the winner gets a bottle of wine, and the loser gets let me get this the right way around. The loser gets a signed photograph of me, right, and the winner gets a bottle of wine. That's right. That makes sense. And I'm going to shut up. It's the medication going to my head. We've done this preamble into your outfit for the Mummers Day parade that you're going to be wearing. Let's see what it is. Here it is right now.
Okay.
It's the same outfit as before.
No, because now what I did was I changed out to a silver mini skirt by Wild Fable from Target again, about $15. And now you see I have on my combat boots with the rhinestones down there at the bottom. And now what I often wear, and I think is important to just note, one of the big songs for the Mummers is called Golden Slippers. And it is a theme song for the Mummers, and it is a string song. And so I used to have golden combat boots that I would wear only on Mummers Day. But they were very inexpensive boots, and they finally died. These are my latest combat boots, which are, again, on trend and very in for this year. So if anybody wants to buy combat boots, go for it. You can see that I'm using, again, the same pieces, putting on that skirt. And then these combat boots are shoes that are called Circus by Sam Edelman. And I believe I did buy these. I bought them for $60. So you will see, and probably everybody will notice, that I spend far more on my shoes than I do on my other clothes.
Well, that's not surprising given who you are.
Right. And also the other reason is that, you know, shoes can often outlast the trends. But there are just a couple of other things sort of I wanted to say, Phil, if anybody wants to chime in. And where's Rabina tonight? She not talking?
You know, Rabina's here, but she's not talking.
You're quiet, Rabina.
Anne wants us to not forget the Notting Hill Carnival. Yeah, but that's different.
Notting Hill Carnival is a little bit more like Mardi Gras, I think, actually.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm dismissing the Notting Hill Carnival. You don't get a prize for that. What am I talking about prizes for? I'm not giving out prizes. You wanted to mention something before I have to mention something. Did you say you wanted to? Let me mention something first.
You go.
Let me try and get the camera in close on me. Okay, let me get the camera. Look at this. I want to show everyone how I control the cameras in the studio. Look, do you see what I'm showing you? Have a look. Can you see this? This is a pin that I just bought this week that I've wanted for a while. And I wouldn't buy it in gold because I hate gold and I think gold's a bit too feminine. And I wear this on my denim jackets. And I just want to tell you about this pin because I think it's quite interesting. Here we go. Oops. Don't want to go back too far. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm the producer, director, cameraman. I wanted to mention that this is a sterling silver zigzag scribble abstract pin brooch. It's actually hallmarked sterling. It's like 66 millimeters tall, 45 wide. Let me give you a photo now of the original brooch. Here's a photo of the original one that it's taken from. I'm sure Anne will be familiar with this, even though she can't see it when she hears what I have to say. Here is the original one. This was designed by Paloma Picasso for Tiffany & Company around about 1983. This original one was highly polished 18-karat yellow gold with a platinum and diamond tail. 9 sparkling round brilliant diamonds were pave set and graduated in size. Approximately like a quarter of a carat total diamond weight. I have to tell you, this is shocking to me. The original of this, and there was a lot of them, now sell on places like eBay for between $2,000 to $5,000. Let me go back to me now. For my copy, let me get Paloma off of there. For my copy that I'm wearing, and this is good if any guys are watching, I paid $25 for mine. And there's a few online. This is also from that period. It was from a new company that's just started selling on eBay. They've got some absolutely amazing items, dirt cheap prices. I'm really sorry to have come across them. But anyway, because I know I'll be spending some money on them, this is the name of the company, Diamond in the Rough, IL. So you just go to eBay and you put seller Diamond in the Rough, IL. All around the $20–$25 range. Just started out. And they were so nice to me. They got this to me so quickly. They didn't charge me any extra. And they were just very, very kind and generous. And I said, you know what? If that's the way you treat me and you just treat me as a regular customer, because that's all I was, I'm going to tell people about this. So I've done that. I just want to, as we come to the end here, we've got a few minutes left. And I want to touch on something which is not Christmassy, but it's on my mind a lot. We touched on it a couple of years ago. And I just want to get your impression. And I've been reading some information about this. And this is about the fashion bloggers and influencers. Now, I know you at one point weren't very happy with fashion influencers. I know that the fashion companies are now taking their advertising dollars, and instead of putting them into Vogue and Harper's and all of those type of magazines, they're putting them into the influencers. And these young ladies who happen to be very attractive, but I don't know if their background has really taught them too much about the fashion industry, they're making millions of dollars for doing infomercials. That's the way I see it. How do you see an influencer?
Oh, I think you're exactly right, Phil. And I still, what is sad about it is that several things that you point out. It might be great because they have a unique perspective and they might be putting things together well, and they might have an innate sense of style. But when you are a fashion company and you were doing ads for Vogue, you were directing that ad. So you had a message as the brand that you wanted to get out there, your point of view. You were selecting the models, you were selecting the photographers, you were selecting the locations and the outfits that were going to be worn, and you had your own stylist as to how to use them. I don't mind that there are people out there, much like I just did. I showed you how to style a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm telling you how much it costs. But I'm in no means trying to be a fashion influencer. I'm trying to help you have ideas about how to style yourself, or how to find things that you think might be good, or how to find, to see how to use a deal or look for a deal and a trend. I'm not telling you have to go by what I wear, or trying to in any way, shape, or form say that I have put it together in the only way. And in fact, I didn't do a very good job for any of those pieces, because I showed you how to rewear the same pieces in a slightly different way, which is not really going to make anybody rich if you are wearing your pieces in a different way. So that is a very big difference than giving clothes to somebody and saying you promote them, or paying somebody with the you promote them thing. And I find it just not right unless the influencer is very upfront and says, I was paid to wear this outfit. I think that's really where it goes. And I think one of the things that's always been terrible about advertising is, and particularly for women, but I would also suspect for men, it's just that as I was growing up, I don't think men really talked about this as much, is that advertising has always been based on telling the consumer, your life is terrible because you don't have this thing. If you have this thing, you will be sexy, your life will be better, you will be great, blah, 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 blah. Influencer still does the same thing. And what that has done is, you know, it's led to a lot of people not having confidence and not having any kind of feeling about themselves, bad image about themselves, feeling bad about themselves. And I would venture to guess that many times when they buy something that has been sold with that message and they put it on themselves, they still don't feel good. So to have the influencers doing it and not being honest about it, and perhaps not being conscious of what they're doing in the context of the larger world, is a problem. It's also a problem for the brands, because when the influencer gets in trouble, now the brand has a crisis. The brand who has aligned themselves with that person has a crisis. And crises travel very quickly today.
And I was reading that, which seems logical, but I didn't necessarily think of it as this way, that the successful people, the successful influencers, aren't the people who have the most followers, but the people who manage to get the most hits on a particular outfit or a particular design. And that leads me into just one other area that maybe will be a topic for another day. I've got into hot water, sort of suggesting this in the past, but when they, some of these influencers, and I'm going to put that in inverted commas, in quotes, tend to get a lot more hits when they are not wearing as many clothes as they might in other photos. And
Yes.
I'm wondering how many of those hits are actually men because of that, and in which case, isn't that, in a sense, the advertiser misleading themselves by gauging how many people have just hit on this and not realizing it's probably a bunch of men who really like to hit on her?
Yes, I think you're absolutely correct. And so the thing that I actually, in my business, what I suggest to people is that instead of looking for influencers, is to create their own brand ambassador. And this is something that's pretty easy to do, because if you have a loyal following of your particular brand, you could have these loyal followers become specific brand ambassadors for you. You can construct an agreement between them, but they already love your brand. So they're going to tell your story of your brand in a way that you want it told. And the brand ambassadors, I think, are quite good. If you look at the influencers, I think you are correct. I think you are absolutely correct.
Sadly, and I for those of you who just saw me do rude gestures, because it was in response to a comment my brother made. But by the way, talking of good comments, Pauline Klingman has said that she never listens to other people. She buys what she likes.
Good.
And
Fantastic.
And you're not telling people what to buy. You're just telling them what you've enjoyed, the same way that I just made that comment about the pin. And I'm not afraid to make a comment about a company if I think they're after. To me, it's not selling you something, it's the after service that is all important to me. And that's why I only recommend people if I know that they've been good to me after I've purchased something, or they've been good to me and got it to me quickly, or they were concerned that it arrived.
Well, I wanted to just also say about your pin, Phil. One of the things that I love is that pin is unisex, and it would go on a number of items because it is a very clean and, nice design. It's very dynamic. It's got great movement. And that would be something that you could put on any, for example, black coat to make it very festive right away. You could put it on a black blazer and make it very festive right away. And because it is a unisex design and available for $25, I mean, what a great accessory piece to have that's very versatile, no matter who you are. That's a great purchase.
And the other thing is, Anne, especially as I am right now with this congestion, it's got a pointy piece here. I can scratch my nose with it. You knew I was going to say that, didn't you?
Thank heaven you said scratch. I thought you were going to say you were going to pick your nose with
No,
it.
oh God,
Totally
that is so uncouth, Anne. You have.
Well, I couldn't let that one go.
You have a very dirty laugh. You know, it's. I'm going to wrap this up now because I am having an awful lot of trouble trying to talk, and of course, everyone's coming out of the woodwork now. I want to thank everyone, Rabina, Pauline, Anne. Let's see. There's a lot of people that didn't write anything today. Howard. Nah, screw him. There's.
It's your brother, isn't it?
Well, I don't like to say that publicly, you know.
Sorry.
Ladies and germs, my guest has been our fashion guru and my fashion show co-host, Anne Cecil. Throughout the show, you have seen information about her website, which is roxannelava.com. To contact Anne, you've also seen her email address, which is underlined, which is roxannelavarocks@gmail.com. And I think I'm going to close out with the Mummers Parade, because I always like to close out with something. I feel that then we're sandwiched nicely in between it. And then I can't wait to have a jolly old cough. Anne and everyone out there, happy Christmas and a very happy and healthy new year to you all. And Anne, please send love from Linda, my wife, who's been my only audience member today, in here, very quietly munching away on peanuts, slurping sodas, belching away, but none of it was picked up on the microphone, which was wonderful. Give love from Linda and from me to your lovely Joe.
I sure will. Can I just say two things, Phil?
Yes.
Real quick.
Go.
I would like our audience to know that there are two great books that I would like to, just fashion books for the holidays. And you brought one up by our favorite person, Bill Cunningham from the New York Times, called Fashion Climbing, which is out now. And it would be a great read for our audience if they're interested in fashion. And I also just got, by another one of our great friends, Iris Apfel. It's called Accidental Icon. So Fashion Climbing and Accidental Icon, two books for you to get this holiday season to snuggle up by the fire and enjoy.
I was actually going to bring the Billy Cunningham book into the studio here and I forgot.
Well, here you go.
Oh, you did get it. I was gonna send it to you when I finished with it. I just sneezed all over it. Hang on, put that bit closer. So has that just come out by Iris?
I think so. I just recently got this. My sister sent me this one, and then I had to have this one because you had it.
And somehow you and I have got to go to New York and to sit down with Iris Apfel before she dies.
We could have all three have our circular glasses.
Can we make this happen?
It'd be the best. Well, you have the connections, my friend.
Yeah, but you're the fashion guru. Don't give me that crap, you know. Okay, let's go for some mamas. I'm going to cut you off now. And
happy Christmas, everybody.
Bye, everyone. See you in 2 weeks. Okay, love you all. Let's go to the mamas. Here we go. Bye-bye, Anne.
Bye.
Bye-bye.